My question now, and it goes first to Senator Dillard, who I hope will excuse me for using the name of another candidate in the question. One of your fellow candidates, Mr. Rauner, said when he visited the Brandt Agricultural Services Company in Springfield in June that Franklin Delano Roosevelt thought government unions shouldn't exist and are immoral. Others have interpreted Roosevelt's comments differently, but with the issue raised, do you think government unions are immoral? And if you had your way, what percentage of state workers, teachers, firefighters, and police in Illinois should be represented by unions 5 years from now?
I don't believe unions are inherently bad, and I accepted the endorsement of a major union on Friday. I think many people in this room know Cinda Klickner, who is an English teacher from here in Springfield. I don't think she is a union boss. She's an English teacher that teaches our children. So unions are not inherently bad. They are many, many members of our families and our communities. Obviously, I think state government has become incredibly unionized. You do have to have some merit employees that are not members of a union. But I believe in the right to collectively bargain. Illinois is not Indiana. We're not Wisconsin. We are a state that has a proud organized labor history. I will tell you, though, that the best way to get concessions from unions and to keep them from killing the goose that laid the golden egg is to meet with them, to talk to them. It's not to demonize them. I was the sponsor of the work rule changes that kept McCormick Place, some very difficult unions we had to deal with. We did it in a bipartisan way with President Cullerton, Senator Radonio, our leader, as well as Speaker Madigan. And I also voted for and was instrumental in work rule changes for public transit drivers in the state.
Mr. Rauner?
Yep. Bernie, this is one of the most important issues we face as a state today. Franklin Roosevelt, when he spoke of unions, he emphasized the fact that President Roosevelt, he was very pro-union. President Roosevelt was very pro-union, but he was troubled deeply by government unions. There's a big difference between a government union boss and private sector unions. Private sector unions need to compete in the marketplace, in the workplace, and businesses negotiate back and can move, and they're flexible. In government, there's no flexibility. Schools are located where they are. Government is one bureaucracy, doesn't move. Springfield's not moving. And it's when a government union boss has power with taxpayer-funded union dues to influence politicians through campaign cash, campaign workers that are free but actually paid for by government taxpayers inside the government. It's a conflict of interest, and it's a corrupting influence. And the result of it is spending goes up, taxes go up, and businesses leave our state in the communities where that spending is too high. And as a result, working families, many union families, as well as non-union families, working class families are suffering. They suffer as a result. Jobs leave, taxes rise, school reform doesn't happen, and working families, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, truck drivers, maintenance workers, they suffer in the private sector because of the power of the government unions.
If I may quickly follow up, you didn't say if there should be fewer in 5 years. Should they go away if it's an immoral system?
I believe that their power needs to be restricted. I'm not against the existence of government unions, but workers should be free to choose whether to be in a union or not.
We go to Senator Brady.
Well, Bernie, I think the word you used or quoted Mr. Rauner as saying that they're immoral. They're not immoral. I mean, unions serve their constituency, the people that they represent. And certainly public and private sector unions have done a lot to assist in enhancing the quality of life of the members that they provide for. They also provide for a skilled workforce. We can't lose sight of the fact that union representation often provides in the private and the public sector with a skilled workforce that's able to meet the demands of a government job. So I think it's abusive to use the word immoral when you talk about any union members. They've been a pillar of our country, and they've been important to us. But it is important that a governor have balance. And I will say this about Governor Quinn. He has failed at developing a relationship with the unions. We do have far too many, as a percentage, union employees because we've seen many of them choose a union job that was protected rather than a management job before, because this administration has failed to budgetarily deal with that. as governor, I'm going to work with the unions to make sure that there are union jobs, but I also think we need more of a balance to where management jobs are not needed to be unionized and can work under the flow of what we do in government. So as governor, I'm going to be honest with the unions. I'm going to negotiate fair and decent contracts. We're going to meet our obligations. We're not going to make promises of raises like Governor Quinn and then fail to deliver on them. And we're going to deliver respect.
Thank you. And Treasurer Rutherford.
Great. I happen to believe in the right to collectively bargain, both in the private sector and in the public sector. I mean, we talk about working families, and I too concur that to suggest the public employee unions or their leadership are bosses and immoral is inappropriate. I do believe, though, that we need to have a good balance. I understand the point of your question, what is the percentage in 5 years? Candidly, I can't give you that, and I'm just being honest with you. There are positions within our government that I do believe should have the opportunity to be collectively bargained. But I absolutely believe that there are positions in our government that should not be. And we've gone through a legislative initiative this past year into which the constitutional officers, and I've been a part of that, suggest that there are positions that should not fall under a union, that they should be discretionary, they should be at will, and go with what the constitutional is. So the balance in itself is yet to be seen.